here with Tia Durunda, and she has a booth here at On and On. And during the holidays, Tia specializes in beautiful wreaths made out of vintage ornaments. They're certainly one of a kind and magnificent, Tia.
Thank you so much.
Well, we'd like to show some of the items that you've done already.
So yeah, we have some wreaths up here. The first one there, the first big one with the birds, is kind of those non-traditional pastel Christmas colors that are really in style right now. Like if you go in any of the stores, you'll see like the pink and the aqua, which are vintage colors, but they're
everything
popular
old
now.
is new again,
yeah.
right?
And those are all vintage ornaments, of course, vintage shiny brights, and then we like to add some little accents. Like that one has cute little bird ornaments that are vintage. The one in the middle there, you know, the more traditional Christmas colors, the red and the green with the knee hugger elf and some little poinsettia ornaments that are also vintage. Everything is vintage on all the wreaths, even the tinsel I use because it's thicker.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have the one with the deer theme, silver and gold with the bells. And then there's another kind of more 60s, like modern, like psychedelic kind of one at the end there with the lucite deer and the mushroom ornaments and some of those funky retro vintage looking ornaments.
The great part is if you do have vintage ornaments and someone would like to utilize them, to put them in a wreath is a great idea.
Yeah, it's awesome if you have them, if you've inherited them, or if you just collect them. It's a great way to display them if you don't want to put them on your tree. I like to use it in my house, you know, because we have a baby now, so she's not going to knock them over and damage them. So I think it's really fun and it's really easy to do on your own.
Well, you're going to give us some inspiration, so I guess we can get started. What's the first thing we do?
So first thing is you have to get these foam wreath bases. This is probably the only thing I use that's not vintage, of course, and the glue. I can get these at any crafting store. And then you would wrap the wreath first in tinsel. You can do more than one color if you wanted to do. I did like a candy cane stripe one time. My rule with glue is kind of the more glue, the better, you know, to make sure that it's really secure.
Right.
You need about 10 yards almost of tinsel for each wreath. And then you would just wrap it around. Every time I wrap it around, I add a little dot of hot glue. And there's so many ways you can do them. Some of them are half wreaths, some of them are full wreaths. I really like the half wreaths right now. I think they're really cute and you could be a little creative with it. So, you know, you would decide what kind of ornaments you want. This is kind of a pastel theme, pinks and blues and light colors. I like to do the perimeter first. You would glue each individual ornament on the perimeter here. I don't really like things uniform. I think it looks more fun when it's kind of different angles.
I do too. It's a good way to salvage something too. Like let's say you have an ornament and it's damaged, like maybe that hook part isn't there.
Yes.
You could still use it in the wreath.
Yeah, even if it's a little broken or something, I love to use, you know, the broken pieces and then, you know, they end up getting repurposed instead of just thrown away.
So that when you're gluing them, it's not like you're pinning them in styrofoam. You're actually gluing the ornaments onto the kind of like the tinsel, really, right?
Yes.
So that's why it should probably be super secure. I would love to know some people's reactions when they come around to your booth and they see these beautiful vintage wreaths.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It really brings out a sense of nostalgia for people. They're like, I had those kind of ornaments, or my grandmother had those types of ornaments. So people really love them. I think anything with vintage and nostalgia is just so popular.
Totally.
So these are some vintage reflectors that I picked up at like a flea market. And then, you know, I put one here on the wreath. And then what I usually like to do is kind of put something in the center. So we have these smaller ornaments. So, you know, you kind of decide where you want them to go, you know, make sure that it would fit, and then place it. And like I said, I kind of like when things aren't really super perfect. And then when you are letting it dry, I usually like to count to at least 30 in my head when I, you know, put them down just to make sure that it's really secure on there. And then you might have, you know, other fun vintage decorations, or they don't have to be vintage. I mean, you could mix new and old, of course. These are they're almost like corsages. They're like vintage corsages. I thought these would look really cool with the pastel color. So, you know, that would be something that maybe I would add.
These were very popular too, right?
The Putz houses are super popular. Yeah, there's one on this wreath here.
Yeah, I love that one.
Like if this was a bigger one, maybe I would put it in the center, kind of like that one. But I kind of like, you know, maybe like it would just be kind of on the wreath, on the front of the wreath, I think would look cool.
Yeah, if you don't have a whole village and you maybe have one that's from your mom or your grandmom, what a great way to display it.
And it sticks really well, actually, right on the tinsel. You just have to make sure that you hold it down.
Oh, that looks so cute.
Yeah, it's really up to you and to be creative and have that vintage piece in your house that people love to show off and, you know, show your children and your grandchildren, like the ornaments that are passed down throughout your family. It's a nice way to remember those Christmases from the past.
Tia, these are absolutely beautiful. We've had so much fun today. I'd like for you to tell everybody how they can pick up some of these, because you have not only these wreaths, but you have all sorts of seasonal things and great vintage Christmas, right?
Sure, yeah. So we're Anthracite Heirlooms. This is On and on Compose Ave in Scranton. So right now, obviously, we're getting ready for the busy Christmas season. So, you know, you can buy the wreaths here. Of course, all of the Christmas decor. Blow molds are really popular right now. So, you know, we have a lot of those here. And all the vendors have awesome Christmas stuff. Everybody really just goes all out. And you can follow On and on Instagram. And our page is Anthracite Heirlooms on Instagram as well. So that's where we post all of our new stuff. So it's worth checking out. But then during the year, we sell Halloween, Easter. We specialize, or we like to think we do, in local history too. You know, things from Scranton, old advertising. That's kind of how we got our name, Anthracite Heirlooms.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, so we love the area and we love vintage, so.
Excellent. Well, we love vintage too, and we thank you so much for
Thanks.
showing us how to make this, and we wish that you have a great holiday season.
Oh, thanks, you too.
Thank you.